Welcome to Catch Outdoors Season 5. I'm your host, Captain Rob Modis, coming to you from Islamorada, down in the Florida Keys. This adventure covers all things fun to do down this way on the islands where no one cares who you are or what you do. We'll talk about fishing, including reports, tackle, and the like, and we'll also cover the many happenings down this way. And believe me, it can be tough to keep track of everything. There's music, there's festivals, food and drink, and fishing tournaments, just to name a few. And this season, I'll add interviews with some of the characters that make the Florida Keys a very special place. So sit back and enjoy the ride from Key Largo to Key West over 42 bridges with water everywhere. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you might be listening, folks. This is episode number 236. And title this time, it's time for more lobster. Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Hello, especially to my returning listeners and also to my new listeners. If this is your first time here, you'll find commentary. Pretty light, though, with some insight on fishing, traveling, dining, Florida Keysy kind of stuff. I do spend quite a bit of time all over the Keys, but I live in Islamorada, so I tend to gravitate in that direction. And, I do add quite a bit of Key West, though. My favorite place. Well, yes, my favorite place to visit. I love living in Islamorada. I think I made that clear 2 weeks ago. Islamorada is where I live. Love Islamorada. Great island, great place, great little town. But I do love visiting Key West and partying there for a few days and then come on back home. Just go north up the Keys just a little ways. So before moving on, I'm going to remind listeners there will be accompanying photos added to the Catch Ya Outdoors Facebook page soon after the release of the podcast, which happens on Thursday morning early. So somewhere after that time, Thursday afternoon, early Friday, I usually like to get on there and throw any additional photos on there that you might like to see, especially if I describe something that's impossible to describe on the podcast. So mini season has come and gone. I'm liking the gone part. This is the traditional early 2-day opening of lobster season that occurs on the last Wednesday and Thursday of July. Commercial season opens today, August the 6th, when you're listening to this. So I'll be hunting lobster via my truck at one of the local docks that sells Caribbean lobster directly from the boat. See? So much easier and less dangerous. It was pretty crazy down here this entire week. Tons of people, tons of boats on the water, on the roads behind trailers. It was noticeable. It was also notable that many of the guests stayed for most of the entire week. We didn't really see a mass exodus right after it. The season was only 2 days. So it's a 2 day. So like I said, it's a Wednesday, Thursday. And after the Thursday, you would think Friday would be the exodus, but it wasn't. Saturday afternoon is when they really started to pile out of here. And I thought, well, okay, that's the end of that. Sunday will be better. Nope, not all of them left. Sunday, there was a whole nother flush of people when they checked out of the hotels at around 11 o'clock in the morning. So it's nuts. I mean, really, really nuts. I, however, do want to personally thank all of them for enhancing our local economy. While it's a crazy time, we locals never get upset about all the money that you all spend down here. So, by the way, off-island drivers are a pain in the ass, speeding, passing on double yellow lines, on bridges plainly marked no passing. It's a wonder we only had a handful of full closures of the road. The other day, Janelle and I witnessed a driver on the old road near our house just drive right down the road, missing 2 out of 3 stop signs. What happens? The old road happens just up the street from us, or I should say down. It's south of us by maybe a mile. And then the old road runs all the way north up to the Publix, which is almost to the bridge. That's the old highway is what that is. And it's residential, very residential. Speed limit's 30, lots of stop signs, and it's skinny. and you're generally sharing the road with bicyclists and walkers back there, and who, by the way, don't pay any attention when they're crossing the road. They don't look, so makes it dangerous for them. But anyway, these people will get off on that road and use that as a, quote, shortcut to go north through Islamorada instead of out on the road that's jammed with people trying to leave with boats on trailers and all that fun stuff. The slow people. Well, it's not slow people. It's a traffic jam. It only can handle so many cars. And they go racing up that road. So if you're here, be careful. It's dangerous. I'm surprised that the police don't just park themselves on them. And the sheriff could have a ball with that little section of road, but there's no room to pull anybody over. Anyway, good news is that it's, as far as my research has determined, no one died looking for lobster in the Florida Keys this time around. That's really good news. It's each year we've lost one or two. I didn't do a thorough research, but I pretty much checked, and I couldn't find anything right off the bat except for one back in 24, I guess it was. Oh, I got to say this to drive my northeastern friends crazy. Florida lobster tastes better than Maine lobster, so there. You know the email. Use it. Let's cover the fishing with a report, not from my personal experiences, but from what I've read over the last week. Fishing was good. One thing was kind of obvious is that quite a few guys avoided the fishing part, with some of them obviously converting for a day or two to lobster hunting, which makes complete sense to me. I personally avoid the water when there's a bunch of folks here with boats, and many of them don't clearly understand the rules of the road, and I've found it best to be a landlubber during those times, quite frankly. But overall, the fishing was pretty good. A lot of dolphin have moved in off of the near the Gulf Stream, which is really close. At one point, the Gulf Stream came within 3 miles of Islamorada, so it wasn't like a 7 to 9 mile trip. It was literally 3 miles out. And there's still sargassum, but nowhere near as thick as it was. It's actually calming down a bit. And that's where these fish have been hanging out underneath the sargassum. So the guys that have been trolling out there and casting along the sargassum did really, really well. I mean, limits of dolphin. I didn't hear much about the snapper side. You know, normally I hear reports about yellowtail and things like that out there, but everyone was just talking dolphin. So, for those that don't know this, it's mahi. Yeah, I saw this guy post, "We're down in Florida eating dolphin," and I'm like, what? And I looked, and the guy was sadly mistaken. It was mahi. But anyway, that's another story. So all in all, fishing was pretty good. Backcountry, I got almost nothing out of the backcountry. And I think a lot of guys went but aren't talking. And I said last week, I reported that I thought, Florida Bay was a bit off, and I don't know why, and I'm going to experiment with it. That's what's coming up this next week. So, but I didn't hear a lot from those guys. And that's a safe place. Here's the thing about Florida lobster hunting, mini season. You cannot take lobster out of the Everglades National Park, which where we live starts right on the other side of the Intracoastal Waterway, which is only a mile or two from our shoreline, our bay shoreline. You run right into it, basically. And once you hit that and cross over, you're in Everglades National Park. They do not allow taking of anything. No crab traps, no lobster traps, no stone crab, none of that business can go on there. So, pretty good place to go fish because you're not going to run into lobster hunting people there and all the boaters. But I didn't hear much. I'll be honest, I did not hear much. And the other thing to point out about the Intercoastal Waterway boundary, which basically runs, all the way from Key Largo all the way past almost to, I forget, I think I already put this in a podcast. It's goes down to about Long Key, I think, and then it turns north, the boundary does, the Everglades National Park boundary. Outside that boundary, they can put traps. So if you're here in Islamorada, you will run into a rash of traps on this side of the Intracoastal, that mile or two of that. They're everywhere. So you really have to be on your toes if you're boating because there's those little styrofoam marker balls everywhere, the little buoys. So it's time to stand up and drive. You can't sit and drive. So try not to run over them, please. Just speaking for the lobster guys, traps are expensive and there's no point in making their lives miserable. And as I was saying, my time off the water applies only to Lobster Mini season. Labor Day weekend, Memorial Day weekend, and the 4th of July holidays. That's a personal rule that I started as a fishing guide. No point in having a boat accident when you're a licensed captain. It's tough getting that credential, by the way, very tough, and very easy to lose it when it comes to like a boat crash or doing drugs. Don't do either one. You see, the USCG looks at all accidents as the fault of both drivers, both captains. Yeah, so they often remind boaters that if you crash into another boat, it could possibly be your fault as well. They use this little rule called the lookout rule. You must always be on lookout. You must always have your head on a swivel. So when two boats crash into each other, it's very often that both are in trouble. And as a captain, you don't want to lose that nice little certificate of yours. Hard to get back. So I don't go out there and that. I mean, I'm not a captain anymore, but I just carry that same thought in the back of my. No point in getting into something like that. But I'll get back to fishing next week when things are a whole lot quieter on the water. It's coming soon. We got a few more things happening this week, and then by Monday, Tuesday, if the weather holds, and so far it's been holding great. Knock on wood. We should do that. So. Let's see some other fishing type oriented things or water oriented things. Commercial harvest of greater amberjack in federal waters of the Gulf of America closes on August the 8th. No, this doesn't affect recreational fishing, folks, okay? But I thought I'd report it so you all would know that it finally happened. The annual catch weight limit went over by 8,000 pounds in 2025. And that, of course, directly affects the recreational folks. So NOAA lowered the max for 2026, and it's already been met, so thus the closure. It will not open again until January 1st. Does this affect recs? Not at the moment. The recreational season is set to open on September 1 and run until October 14th. But you'll notice that season's been getting smaller and smaller. The reason is they're trying to control the commercial overfishing. And they're not overfishing illegally. It's just the weight went over and they didn't catch it in time. So bad NOAA. Fishing rule changes pretty much happen on the fly. People, for both commercial and recreational fish, be sure to check before you go. There are also quite a few really good apps that you can stick on your phone for keeping track of these rules, especially the changes that happen literally overnight. Before you go out of range, be sure to open your app and hit the update button so that anything that has happened over the last time you went out, it automatically gets updated so you'll know about it and you'll have that locked down. Let's see. There's a shark depredation town hall meeting scheduled for Friday, August the 14th at 6 p.m. at the Safe Harbor Angler House here in Florida. What is shark depredation? It's when a shark eats your catch before you can get it to the boat. Shark research collaboration scientists from the University of Miami and FIU are studying shark depredation in Florida Keys. Shark depredation is when the sharks take a catch off the line before anglers can land it. Pretty much what I said. They say here they want to hear directly from the fishing guides and anglers who deal with it daily. So research and future policies can reflect what's actually happening on the water. So that's a pretty big deal. Let me back up. I flipped that page over. Hold on a second. That's August the 14th. Friday the 14th, a week away, 6 p.m. at the Safe Harbor Angler House here in Alamorada. In my world, formerly known as Metacumbe Marina. ICAST, the convention for sellers of fishing gear, etc., clothing, boating stuff, everything you can imagine, recently ended up in Orlando. There are quite a few interesting releases that I want to quickly mention here. I have not been to ICAST now in 3 years. Quite a drought. I might go next year. It just got in the way of everything this time around. Maybe I'll make time for it next year because I really do enjoy it. It's mind-blowing and it's physically tough because it's such a huge place to walk. But I'll do it, I think, maybe. So anyway, a couple things caught my eye, because everybody releases stuff after it goes out. And so Z-Man, a couple things in particular. Z-Man introduced some interesting new items. They are finally bringing out a series of sinking Elastex baits to the table. The baits feature the same body, that real durable, elastic, you stretch it doesn't break body material, but with an added filler that overcomes the Elastex material tendency to float. That's something that's a real problem. If you're fishing summer waters or warmer waters or surface fish, not a problem. And you can also insert little pieces of metal and things to help them go down, or put them on a jig head, that kind of thing. But they lose their action when you do that. They don't respond in the water. They're very alive looking if you just don't mess with them. Well, they finally are going to add weights to it, natural weight, their weight to it, to get it down in the strike zone. And really cool. It's the same stuff. It's just apparently it's got a filler in it of some kind. And that'll help a lot, especially in cooler winter weather for some of you that fish when it gets cold and those fish run down in those bigger trenches and they go off the edge of a tide area, things like that. It'll really help get the bait down to the bottom, and that's what you need to pick those fish up. That's where they go. They hold there. Z-Man also showed a jig head with a much better barb holding the Z-Man baits in place. It's tapered, and it's made to slide through the grass over oysters and over rocks. It's really cool looking. I think I can pull a picture of that. I'll try to get that and post it on Facebook on my page. 6 colors, 5 sizes will be available. I'm a big fan of Z-Man jig heads, the plain ones that I've often talked about. Those things are so good. And so it's interesting that they're coming out with these new jigs. What else is on there? Ooh, pay attention to St. Croix rods. They seem to be the big innovator. If you just can't swing the cost of a custom, their series are very close to that quality of rod. And to be honest with you, a lot of custom rod manufacturers use them as a blank. They order blank rods from St. Croix, so it gives you an idea of the quality of the rod itself, the blank. So, speaking from experience, when I was guiding, they were my choice. I couldn't afford to buy custom rods on a guide boat, 6 of them, and then have somebody break them, and that happens. So that's something to be avoided. So I ordered from their Tide Master series, and just absolutely loved them. They're great. Came in a whole bunch of different sizes and weights, and they've stepped up the game. That's what they showed at ICAST, some new Tide Master series stuff. So, and the prices were not, 150, 189, over 200 for a couple of them, but where they should be. Spin rods designed for salt water. So that's what the Tide Master is all about. So if you're rod hunting and you just don't want to foot the bill of $300 or $400 for a custom, by all means look at these. They're really good. Here's a new one to me. Micro lures. Myco lures. M-I-C-O, not micro. Myco lures. There was a new one. They were new to the show as far as I can tell. I went and did some research and couldn't find a lot, but I did find quite a bit when they were at the show. They had a mini plastic swim bait, like the paddle tail baits. Looks really good. The photos and the people talking about it were pretty excited. It's small, like 2 inches, 2.5 inches, not very big. Glittery colors with great big eyes on the front of them. And the colors look appropriate for the waters that I fish in, that blue-greenish stuff, green, white, kind of a pale pinkish red, that kind of thing. So really, really neat. As soon as those things come out, I'm going to be grabbing some and trying them. And obviously, I'll talk about that here. But you probably won't see a lot of what was shown at ICAST until September or October. That's the way it always works. They pump you up, and then you got to wait. So anyway, that lure looked really cool. So like I said, I'm going to focus on fishing this next week. I'm also going to follow up on what I talked about a couple of weeks ago about the status of fishing in Florida Bay and the weirdness. I'm just going to call it that. Why is it working here and then all of a sudden it's not? And why is fishing not working at all in places that Janelle and I fished back in the 90s into the early 2000s? It's something that concerns me. Especially since overall water quality has been improving. You'll notice that we're not talking a lot about poor water quality. The work up in the Everglades and the Everglades National Park and US 41 and these areas that they're raising the road to let water through has really helped Florida Bay. Maybe it just hadn't worked far enough south. I'm not a scientist in that regard, and I don't know, but kind of fun to figure it out. So I'm going to go up there and experiment. I'm going to fish in different areas this time, and things that I don't normally fish in. I'm going to start doing like a pattern of fishing where I go up, start at about 10 miles up and then try 12, 15, 18, 20, just work my way up and see exactly where the line is, where things start to really look more normal and where they look to change. So try to get my butt back in the boat, y'all. I miss this stuff. So all kinds of fun things. This is going to be a short podcast. I'm enjoying this. Sometimes I just don't have a lot of material. Fuzzy children update. For those of you that listened last couple of weeks ago, we got a couple of kittens. Yeah, we had been catless for long enough. The first time in 30 years, we had not had a kitty cat in the house. And they're nice. I mean, I don't know, there's something about having a cat around. They're cool. Emmy and Amber, as their names are, doing well. Emmy is a tiger stripe, and Amber is a red cat, little orange cat. They obviously love each other. We figured that part out. Yeah, it's an insane amount of play, wrestling, and then huge naps together. So basically doing what kittens do, very entertaining. It's nice to have them. They've grown a bit and are becoming more watchful of the great outdoors. That's one thing I've really noticed. This old house has great big windowsills, something mostly missing in new homes, and they absolutely love sitting and sleeping on the windowsill so they can keep an eye out on what's going on outside in the yard and out front when the cars pass by. So I'll probably post a cat picture. Why not? Book sales. Sold a few. Thank you all for your orders. There are still plenty left. Go to the website, catchyOutdoors.com, scroll down for special pricing on all 4 of my books. I mentioned earlier I found a treasure trove of them unexpectedly in a storage room. I'm like, oh no. So these are first run, full color for a couple of them. So get them while you can. Where are we now? Martini Brothers are official. We were. We went back and forth over the last 2 weeks, but it looks like we have been dubbed the Martini Brothers, and that's how it's going to go. Myself and Pasta Pantaleo. Pasta will be playing drums. Actually, he's going to be playing a little box, tap on. I love that box. It's cool. Percussion. We'll call it percussion, which he's good at, really good at. He's also good at painting. I'll be playing the guitar and doing the singing. We debut on Saturday the 8th at 6 p.m. at the Moose Lodge here in Islamorada. It'll be comprised of island tropical music with a few popular islandy songs, I call them, thrown in, as well as quite a few of my originals in each set. Pasta and I are very much looking forward to seeing you all there. This should be a lot of fun. A little scary, but not really. I got to thinking about it. And I played out way back at the garden party this winter, and that was really fun. That kind of stemmed my interest in getting out and playing more, and so here it comes. Nervous, maybe. More adrenaline probably than anything else, but Pasta keeps grinning at me, so everything's going to go all right, I guess. Hope to see you there. I get asked this a lot. Do I have to be a member to attend? No, you do not. You can attend the Islamorada Moose drinks and dinner. You'll pay a little more than a member does. I'll clue you on that part. And you cannot participate in any games. We have all kinds of card games and dice games and things that are perfectly legal in the lodge. But you, as a non-member, can't do that. So if you want to get in on that, you got to join. But you can show up for the show. Not a problem. What else is here? Oh, the garden. The garden became a really big focus during Lobster Mini season. Since I made up my mind to not hit the water, we decided to better create a bird and butterfly garden here at the house. Janelle, it was mutual. Janelle and I were both like, actually she saw an article online about her favorite bird, the bunting, the painted bunting, which happens to be one of my favorites too. It's a beautiful little bird about the size of a small sparrow, multicolored like a parakeet. They're incredible in the wild. They hang out mostly in the summertime up in the Carolinas. Coastal Carolinas, they like thickets and things like that. And then they come down here to escape the cold. They do not come down here to nest. They literally come here to escape the cold. True snowbirds. And we feed them, and we do the best we can to get them. We had a rough time at this new house. Previous house, not so good. Key Largo, great. We had them all over the backyard in Key Largo. The difference is plantings, trees, Florida native flowering, things like that. These little guys like to hide in the thickets, and then they come out to the feeder to eat, and if the least little thing gets their attention, they fly back into the thicket. And that's their modus operandi. And so the article she read was all about what to plant. And we went through the list, a lot of the plants we already had back there, but how to build a wall, basically a wall of plants, and then a lower wall in front, and then a small flowering wall in front of that. So we went wild, man. We went up to the local store up the road from us, the garden store, and picked up a whole bunch of stuff. And I spent the last 2 days, yesterday and the day before. What was yesterday? I'm recording this on Tuesday, so I spent Monday and Sunday basically just repotting and readjusting and putting things in order, and it came out really well. I like it. I'm patting myself on the back. I did a good job. Then what we'll do is we'll hang the feeders on the edge of that we use. We just use little millet weed in there. That's all you use for those birds. They are seed eaters and some insect eater. And they like to be in an area where the plants produce seeds, which is a lot of what we planted, native plants that produce seeds, and also native plants that produce flowers for butterflies and things. So we'll see how it works. I'll be reporting on that. You can count on it. Another love of mine. I'll put gardening right up there. Gardening, music, and fishing. Yeah, it's all good. So, I think that's all I got for you this time around. It's time now for some useless information.
And now, from the original book of useless information.
You are a reject! You are useless! You can get a job down here cleaning toilets!
Here's your host, Captain Rob Modies.
Well, he swears up and down he's useless, but
he might be all right eventually, but completely useless.
With useless information.
Okay, here we go. A dragonfly has a lifespan of 4 to 7 weeks. Dang. A species of Australian dragonfly has been clocked at 36 miles per hour. Dragonflies are our friends. They eat mosquitoes. A species of earthworm in Australia grows up to 10 feet in length. That's a lot of bait. A square mile of fertile earth has 32 million earthworms in it. Chimney. Some ribbon worms will eat themselves if they cannot find food. Oh, joy. And there you have it until the next edition of Catch You Outdoors. And last but not least, some final thoughts. I spent a lot of time playing guitar this past 2 weeks, especially this week. Not doing the boating or fishing thing allowed me extra time for practice. I actually forgotten how relaxing playing the guitar is. Sometimes I just sit and doodle with it and trying new chord patterns and even learning new tunes or relearning old ones that I played years ago. Music right now is only second to fishing for me, and that says a lot. I find that both are very similar in the way they provide the endorphins to help you relax and turn your mind off to all the noise that intrudes upon you in this daily life. It's like an island, kinda, with a beautiful view. Thanks again for listening. I'll talk to you again in just a couple of weeks. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed the podcast. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another edition of Catch You Outdoors. Don't miss an episode. Hit the subscribe button and join the fun. Companion photos of what was covered in this episode will be posted shortly on the Catch You Outdoors Facebook page. Do your best to spend as much time as you can outdoors.